I don't know if you know the story. When we first started working together, I was on a trip in like Ontario for a guy that I work with who was doing a Bruce Trail, which is like this long ass trail, FKT, like fastest known time. And I literally got your email, and I was so enraged by like what you said about like your fracture and like how kind of things had gone down and stuff, that like I was out in the car while he was running in the woods somewhere. I was like, I think I emailed you. I was like, no, I gotta call this girl because like I feel so bad for her. And so then you jumped on the phone, which was great. But I know at that time your confidence was pretty low with running, and you know you can paint the picture if you want about the fracture and where you were at that point.
Yeah, so I think I was feeling pretty deflated and pretty defeated because I felt like I was in the best shape of my life, but maybe mentally I was just so in the throes. And then once my body kind of broke down physically, it kind of felt like it all started tumbling from there. And it was like just a little bit of pain. And then all of a sudden, like I felt like I couldn't move my leg. I was having like throbbing at night. And I think, I had gotten to the point where I was doing so much and that was partly why physically I was feeling so great because, it feeds into you're doing more and then you think, oh, I'm doing more, so I must be more fit, I must be better, right? And I had gotten to the point where I think that was like a almost like a positive feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
And once that fracture happened, it was like all of a sudden, like just a total spiral downwards of like I no longer have confidence that I'm fit or was even fit. I don't have confidence in my body. Like I had kind of felt like, what was I doing wrong here? So it was kind of just a real high and then a real low, real fast. And that was pretty jarring.
Yeah, and that was October, if I recall.
Yeah.
And so I think you were planning to run NYC later that year. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Was
so
that the
it was
plan?
around October 20th that I had gotten my confirmed diagnosis, and
Yeah.
NYC that year was, I want to say, November 3rd. So it was like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
I was like
Right.
right in the middle or right in the beginning of a taper.
And like I know what it was like, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, but what was that like the first couple weeks? I know we were trying like elliptical, some water running, which you hated, if I recall, and all those things. But what was it like to have that goal kind of ripped away and then still like showing up for yourself like you did? Because you were a rock star with that cross training, to be honest. Like you really were, as much as you hated some of it, I know. But what was it like to kind of go through that? Because I think that's almost a unfortunate universal experience for us as runners.
Yeah, I think there's two kind of sides to it. The first was maybe I think I didn't, and if I could go back in time, I didn't give myself any period of time to kind of like grieve that injury. And so I would have given myself maybe like 4 or 5 days to just like kind of settle and like let myself process what had happened. But I know that, I'm a very type A person and I just kind of wanted to jump right in to distract myself. And I do think that like that worked for me at that time and that's okay. Looking back, I was like, maybe I should have taken a little bit of a couple of days. But committing to cross training through the injury was a pretty easy decision for me because I had known that like if I wanted to start up running again and be and for it to be like any bit enjoyable, like I wanted to stay in like some decent aerobic shape, but then also like I think I just wanted confidence that my body was doing what it could while I was injured. And I think, that also helped for me create mental space. Like I get a lot of energy out when I'm doing some sort of physical activity. So like being able to hop on the bike or hop in the pool, I thought was really helpful for me to process and to kind of keep my mind moving, stay engaged, and like not fall into a slump. I think the other thing that really helped me in terms of like committing to that cross training was thinking of it a lot of the time as an opportunity as opposed to like a punishment. And so thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
what can I, what can I learn from this experience? Like maybe this type of training will help me in ways that I don't realize or don't know. Basically learned how to swim through that injury, which was pretty darn
Yeah.
cool because I went from like being a doggy paddle person to suddenly being
Yeah.
able to swim like 2 full miles at a time. And
Yeah.
so, I ended up not really doing too much with it, but like now I know I can hop in a pool and like I can stroke out. Like I'm pretty solid at swimming now. So I think like taking that like opportunity perspective helped.
Yeah, it's math. I mean, that's what turned me into a triathlete. Basically, was finding ways to friggin' stay in shape while running. And you know, I don't wish stress fractures upon anybody. It sucks as an injury. Although in some regards, as you know, it's actually easier than some of the other injuries we deal with because it's like kind of like 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
8 weeks, and you're good. But I know for you, there was a lot of having to regain trust in your body and kind of get those like phantom pains afterwards. I know we talked a lot about that on the comeback, right? How did you navigate that in the like reflecting upon that now? How did you navigate that in the moment, like those phantom pains? Am I doing too much? Am I coming back? You know, because you had Petite Nord that year that you were really gearing up for.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I had gone back to several times, we had had some conversations as I was dealing with some of those phantom pains that were kind of around like recency bias and understanding like how your brain processes trauma in a way to like almost like protect itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was kind of like, okay, like I can feel pain, and that may be a real physiological symptom that I'm experiencing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that my leg is broken, right? And thinking or jumping to the conclusion that my leg is broken is probably coming from the fact that like less than a year ago I had experienced something really drastic, and I had such a negative reaction or feeling or like negative experience with that that I think, you know, my body was trying or my brain was trying to protect myself from going through that negative experience again. So I think some of it was kind of trusting the process and like your coaching. Some of it was taking a step back and saying like it's okay to feel pain, but like let's think about why this might be amplified in your mind a little bit, right?
You did a great job navigating through it. It's fractures are a weird thing because we see them as like a weakness all of a sudden. Anytime there's pain anywhere near it, right? It's like you know, I'm walking around half the time with pain in my shins, regardless whether you know I don't even have a fracture or anything, right? And so I thought you did a really good job with that.